I'm Watch Eric, and you have found my new YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe. On this video, I'm going to be talking about my very first Audemars, and I still have it. It's this one right here. It's a Royal Oak Offshore Safari. Does that sound weird saying my first AP? Because it's not really my first AP. It's just, it was my first AP 7 years ago. All right, whatever. We're going to talk about it. I'm actually looking at this watch right now because it's been such a long time since I've actually worn it that you almost like just forget all the essence of it that actually you like. But yeah, it's a killer watch. Okay, so about 6 or 7 years ago, I can't really remember, I set my sights on that I wanted an AP. And interesting enough, just like many other people, when they sort of get into AP, which in my opinion is the next level after Rolex, I feel like the Offshore is the first one that usually grabs your attention. For me personally, there was something about that thicker case with that black O-ring gasket under the bezel that just really drew me in. The layout of this watch is so interesting and so much more different than, let's say, Rolex at that time. Back when I bought this watch, all I really had experience with was more Rolex. I had some Breitlings before that. I had a Panerai. I even had a Hublot Big Bang stainless steel, ceramic bezel, whatever. So with this watch world, you almost start becoming obsessed about a model. And I knew I wanted an Offshore, and at that time with the themes editions, there was the Navy, the Volcano, so on and so forth. I felt like the most neutral one that just grabbed my attention was this one, the Safari. It has that ivory cream dial, and it comes with a brown hornback strap, which always grabbed my attention. But for me, I felt I can change it up and put straps and different things and feel like I have more than one watch. So it took me some time to finally find that watch. And when I found it, I actually paid $12,500, and it still had all the stickers on the case. Now check this out. I remember I wore the watch for about almost a month with all the stickers, to the point that the stickers started to flake off and it looked like a snake shedding its skin. One day I finally got over myself and I said, let's pull the stickers off. And I never forget, when I pulled the stickers off of the case of this watch, I felt like a complete idiot. Why? Well, it's very simple. One, I was wearing the watch the whole time with those stickers and it just looked dumb. Two, because when I finally pulled the stickers off is when I was really able to see all the detail of the satin and the high polish, and that's when the beauty of the watch really struck me. Another thing that I want to point out is that 6 to 7 years ago, the watch game was a completely different battleground. It's not like today. You know, this watch back then was a whole bigger deal than it is right now. Nowadays, we have Batmans going for $18,000, which will make this one look like it's not such of a big deal. But back then, this was definitely a heavy hitter. So through these last 6, 7 years, I've actually put several different straps on this watch. I had a black rubber strap, I had a black hornback with the white stitching, and I also at one time even had a metal bracelet on it. But the funny part is that I always feel like it went back to the brown hornback. I even had a brown rubber strap from AP, which also looks great. I feel like they know what they're doing. There's a reason why they put that brown hornback. I feel like at the end of the day, that's the strap I always ended up back with the watch. And I barely wear anything brown, by the way, but this does it for me. Another thing that I want to point out is that for some reason, before I bought this watch, you start getting obsessed with all the little things about a watch that you haven't been able to own yet. I used to love the fact that the deploying clasp had the A and the P there. But funny enough, when you put this clasp on, it's actually the most uncomfortable clasp ever. If you noticed, I have mine backwards because unfortunately with the size of my wrist, when you have it the more traditional way, the standard way, that folding part right there actually digs into this bone right here and it's pretty unbearable. At that time, I was trying to figure out what I can do, and I went over to the boutique, the AP boutique over at Bar Harbor, and the guy said, look, I have a simple solution for you. I said, what? He goes, we're gonna remove the band, we're gonna turn it all the way around. And sure enough, it's so comfortable ever since that the fold is right here that I never thought about it again. So when the Offshore actually changed the lineup and they went to the tang and buckle, I was one of those guys that agreed with it. I don't mind not having the deploying clasp. So back to the Offshore. The thing about the Offshore model is that it's one of those watches that I call it the gateway to AP. I was so drawn in by that model. I love the fact that the date wheel is actually recessed down and the magnifier is in there. That is caused by it having a modular movement, one on top of another for the chrono. So the actual date function is part of the bottom movement, which is a lot lower. Little fun fact, but for me, I kind of like that. It's just something different about the watch. Back to the gateway. The thing about this model is that it drags you in, but after you have it for a little while, it's when I really started to notice that the Royal Oak is the one. So then what happens is my obsession turned into that I wanted a Royal Oak. Why? Well, the Royal Oak, whether it's the standard self-winding or the chrono, which I preferably like in 41 millimeters, the thing about that watch is that it has the same essence and look of this, but it's a lot slimmer. So for me, it's kind of like more well-rounded, whereas this watch to me is a bit more dedicated sporty. But the chrono for me is the one. The day that I finally bought one of those and I put it on my wrist with that iconic bracelet, I feel that unfortunately the Safari went back into the deep hole and I just barely used it as much. I still love it and I still have it. But I'll never forget, it was my first AP. I remember the first time that I ever put a scratch on this watch, and I feel like it still hurts. It's actually a line right here in between that screw there that goes between the 1 and 2 o'clock. I was going into a happy hour, a hot spot in Miami one time, where there was a long line to walk in, so you're kind of just being herded in with the crowd. And all of a sudden, as I was walking, there was one of those velvet ropes type of poles, and right there it tapped on the watch. I still feel like today I felt exactly that pain of that moment. That's part of my obsessions that I started with. When you wear a watch and you're going through an unknown zone, you got to hold the drink here or keep the watch a little bit higher, because I'll never forget the day I was just walking and just boom, it's still there. The watch is unpolished, and personally, I think I'm gonna leave it like that because it's not bad at all. And I know every single scratch on that watch, when and where it got it. Definitely wasn't the last AP that I scratched, because I also scratched my chrono, which I made a video about that. So the question is now, what do I do with this watch? I mean, right now, the way the market is, I could probably sell this watch and pull 15 and a half for it very easily. The thing is, I don't know, it's just one of those watches that was special to me. It was my first AP, and I think I'm gonna hang on to it for quite some more time. Even if I went to then replace it, it would be a problem. Believe it or not, you just don't see these Offshores that much anymore. Once upon a time, you used to be able to get them very easy. Right now, they're few and far between. So I think I'm just gonna keep it, leave it there for a while, and you never know what might happen in the future. But for now, this is the keeper, and this was my first AP. So feel free to comment below what you think I should do with my Audemars Piguet Royal Oak Offshore Safari. And if you like this video, like and share it. Also, subscribe to my new YouTube channel.